The Icewind Dale, this frozen hellscape, a place where there are very little supplies, very little allies to help you, where isolation is paramount, where the very landscape itself may be your undoing. Those who venture forth are brave or foolhardy. This video is going to be taking a deep delve look into this book. We're going to be taking a look through every chapter, what is sort of included with every chapter, and this is kind of a precursor to next week's video, where we are going to be taking a look at the actual specifics of the adventure. We're going to be taking a look at how to run it, how DMs should go about planning for this adventure. Either way, this is going to be a great video. I hope you really enjoy. So at first receiving the book and taking a look at it, we've got another fantastic cover from Wizards of the Coast with some great artwork showing Auril on the front there, which can be one of the main antagonists of the adventure. We also have a Welcome to the Far North with some much needed information about the book and just general campaign things, which is really useful considering this is as much a campaign setting for the Icewind Dale as an adventure. As you can see on the front, we have the adventure flowchart, which is really useful for structuring your adventure and where in the story your players are. We also have a section on character backgrounds, as well as a section on character secrets, which is a great way of inspiring mistrust within your players if they are holding secrets from each other. So that's a great little feature. Chapter 1 is all about 10 towns itself, which are these 10 settings of civilization, and it talks about the lack of magic items and things that are in there. It also mentions at the start of this chapter about these 2 starting quests, Nature's Spirit and the Cold-Hearted Killer, which are 2 really interesting quests that your players can use to get them on the path. However, every single one of the 10 towns, which is described in pretty decent amount of detail, has its own story, meaning in total there are 12 potential starting quests that your players can just experience throughout this campaign by visiting new locations. So every time they go to a new town, they could potentially pick up a little side quest related to that town, which can be really interesting in a fun way. Another one of the ways that this book seems to encourage exploration. So chapter 2 does something very similar. It gives us some information on just key locations that the characters may find within the Icewind Dale. I put a map up right here that you can see that this is a pretty big place with a lot of places of interest that your players may just stumble across on their travels and on their adventures. So yeah, it's a pretty decent place, and having some interesting little side quests and places to discover makes this a really fun campaign setting. That's why I said that half of this book is basically dedicated to the Icewind Dale section and to the 10 towns section, so it's as much of a campaign setting focused on exploring and just having fun within this setting as it is an adventure about saving the Icewind Dale from Auril. So one thing that is quite misleading is that as soon as we hit chapter 3, the adventure goes from less exploration based definitely down more of the railroad style adventure, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but can be a bit of a shock to players who are so used to just having no goals to suddenly have them thrust upon them. And this is quite interesting. Chapter 3 and 4 are very much connected. I'm not going to exactly say how here, but Destruction's Light is a fantastic, fantastic chapter. My favourite throughout the entire book, and is a really great, it provides players with a really great opportunity to fail without losing their characters, without directly dying from an event. So it's a really interesting and fun chapter, and you can see from some of the artwork in here some hints as to what that might be. So chapter 5 goes into Auril's abode, and this is the chapter in which Auril is the main focus of. It takes place on an island of Solstice, which is a interesting location to say the least. It's not as full as I would have liked it to be, and again we sort of have this almost mini dungeon, which feels very fitting, but I almost felt like it came almost too soon in the adventure. And one of the biggest criticisms I have with this is, unlike something like Curse of Strahd, Auril is not this ever-present figure in the adventure. She's just really confined to this one chapter. So we're on to chapter 6, which is the Caves of Hunger. Again, this is an interesting chapter, and I think this is really where the dungeon crawl aspect of the adventure takes place. We have some fantastic rooms, some winding corridors, some interesting locations. My favourite definitely being where basically a creature is trapped in the ice here. So it's fantastic. It allows a great amount of opportunity for DMs. And this leads us into chapter 7, which is the Doom of Ithrin. I think I've pronounced that right. And again, this is a really interesting chapter with this frozen city. I think this is just a really cool place, full of really awesome stuff to explore. Loads of great maps and great descriptions and great creatures and things to find in here. This is a city basically overrun with Nothics and things like that, so it's just fun and enjoyable and just really, really interesting for your players to delve into. So, like all D&D adventures, we have right at the back an appendix filled with monsters and some great creatures. There are some fantastic, fantastic inclusions in this. If you're not interested in the story, it's basically a great campaign setting. There are some great new monsters, some fantastic new spells, and generally this is just great bang for your buck all around. I'm very impressed with not only the quality of this product but the quality of the material inside. It is such a fun and great adventure. I've really enjoyed my time looking through Rime of the Frostmaiden and just gathering my thoughts on how I feel the adventure has run. Well guys, that wraps up my thoughts and a quick flick through of this adventure. It was only a quick review just to show you basically what you're getting with this book. You're getting not only a great campaign setting, which is over 100 pages of detailed information and quests, but you're also getting a fantastic adventure and a really just a copious amount of monsters and spells, which I think would make any campaign really interesting. So next week, the plan is to upload a how to run video for Rime of the Frostmaiden for any DMs who plan to run this adventure in the future. So we'll be taking a look at different aspects of this book and we'll be going through them and some of the tips that I recommend and some of the changes that I'll be making in my game to hopefully make this a bit more streamlined for the players at the table. So tune in next week for that. If you guys have enjoyed this video, please remember to like and subscribe. Every little helps. And thank you so much for your time. Have a great day.